Have you ever met someone and slowly started feeling like your happiness depends on them? At first, it feels beautiful. You think about them all day. You wait for their messages. Their attention makes you feel alive. And when they choose you, even for a moment, something inside you lights up. But then something changes. You start checking your phone too often. A late reply suddenly feels painful. A short message feels cold. And without realizing it, your peace begins depending on someone else's behavior. If this sounds familiar, you may not be experiencing love. You may be experiencing emotional attachment. And understanding the difference between the two can change your life. Emotional attachment happens when another person becomes deeply connected to your emotional stability. In other words, your nervous system begins treating their presence as safety and their absence as danger. That is why small things begin to feel huge. They don't text back? Your chest feels tight. They sound distant. Your mind starts overthinking. They need space? It feels like rejection. But why does attachment feel so intense? Because emotional attachment doesn't begin in the relationship. Very often, it begins long before. It begins in childhood. The way we were loved when we were young shapes the way we connect as adults. If you grew up with consistent love, emotional safety, and healthy affection, attachment may feel balanced. But if love felt unpredictable, if affection came with criticism, if attention had to be earned, your brain may have learned something painful. Love is unstable. Love can disappear. Love must be chased. And when a child learns this, that child often becomes an adult who fears abandonment. That fear doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it hides behind overgiving. Sometimes it hides behind jealousy. Sometimes it hides behind becoming obsessed with being chosen. You may find yourself attracted to emotionally unavailable people. Not because they are healthy for you, but because they feel familiar. And the human brain is strange. Sometimes familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Now here's something most people don't realize. Emotional attachment is not only emotional. It is also chemical. Your brain plays a huge role. Every time that person gives you attention, a message, a compliment, a phone call, a moment of affection, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is often called the reward chemical. It creates pleasure, but more importantly, it creates anticipation. That anticipation is powerful because your brain begins craving the next emotional reward. This creates a cycle. You wait, you hope, you receive attention, you feel relief, then they become distant. Anxiety returns. You crave them again. This pattern can become addictive. That is why some relationships feel impossible to leave, even when they hurt you. Because sometimes you are not attached to the person. You are attached to the emotional cycle. Read that again. Sometimes you are not attached to them. You are attached to the highs and lows they create inside you. And this is where many people confuse attachment with love. But love and attachment are not the same. Love feels safe. Attachment often feels anxious. Love respects boundaries. Attachment fears distance. Love allows freedom. Attachment creates dependency. Love says, I care about you deeply. Attachment says, I need you to feel okay. That difference matters more than most people realize. One of the strongest signs of unhealthy attachment is losing your sense of self. Slowly, without noticing. You stop being the center of your own life. Your mood depends on their mood. Your confidence depends on their attention. Your peace depends on their consistency. One message can make your entire day. One silence can ruin it. At that point, something dangerous happens. Your emotional center moves outside of you. Instead of living within yourself, it begins living inside another person. And that creates suffering. So how do you heal emotional attachment? Healing does not begin by forcing yourself not to care. It begins with awareness. Ask yourself one difficult question. Do I truly miss this person? Or do I miss how they made me feel? That question changes everything. Sometimes what we miss is not the person. We miss feeling wanted, chosen, desired, important, seen. Once you understand that, healing becomes possible. The second step is rebuilding your internal safety. You need to teach your nervous system something new. Safety can exist without them. That means creating stability inside your own life. Sleep better. Move your body. Eat regularly. Spend time with emotionally safe people. Return to hobbies, goals, and routines that reconnect you with yourself. These things may sound simple, But they are powerful. Because every healthy routine sends a message to your brain. I am safe. I am okay. I can survive discomfort. And that brings us to the hardest part. Learning to tolerate emotional discomfort. Most people run from emotional pain. They distract. They chase closure. They beg for reassurance. They do anything to stop the discomfort. But healing asks something different. It asks you to stay present with the discomfort, without letting it control you. Yes, you may miss them. Yes, it may hurt. Yes, some nights will feel heavy. But pain is not permanent. And missing someone does not mean you need to go back. This is one of the most important truths in healing. Missing someone is not proof they are right for you. Sometimes you miss what is familiar, even when it hurts. The truth is, emotional attachment can make you believe you cannot live without someone. But that belief is not reality. It is fear. And fear can lie. You are more capable than your attachment tells you. You are stronger than your craving tells you. And healing becomes real when safety no longer comes only from another person. It begins when safety starts coming from within. When that happens, something beautiful changes. Love stops feeling like survival. You stop chasing people to feel whole. You stop begging for consistency. You stop shrinking yourself to avoid abandonment. And for the first time, love becomes what it was always meant to be. Not desperation, not obsession, not dependency, but connection. Healthy, stable, peaceful connection. And maybe that is the real goal. Not finding someone to complete you, but becoming whole enough that love becomes a choice, not a need.